Sisileleli Afrika, malukanisu kondonayo, izwahimitana soyetu, Kosi silelela jina, lusakolayo, Yena buluka sechama saesu, Felice victory masege, usibuluke, sechama sa, Yesu, sechama sa, South Africa, South Africa. Sounds of call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live as one in South Africa.
Thank you. Good morning once more. My name is Bongani Siqoko. I'm the editor of the Daily Dispatch, Saturday Dispatch, and Dispatch Live. I just tend to welcome all of you to this business breakfast. I will just do this part where I welcome all of you, tell you who is here, and then I will hand over to MEC Qoboshiyane to make a presentation. As we all know, he delivered his policy statement in Bisho yesterday. So he'll make a presentation, broadly, looking at, what the department plans to do in this financial year. If he wants, he can talk about a few things that he raised in his policy speech. We'll then have 30 minutes or so of breakfast so that when we start engaging with the MEC, we all done eating. And after breakfast, we will then start engaging with the MEC, pose a few questions, and he will be here throughout that session to answer questions. There are departmental officials here. Also, they are free to assist the MEC during the question time. Let me just welcome the MEC. We're very honored, MEC, that you accepted our invite to be with us this morning. MEC Qoboshiyane is accompanied by his Superintendent General, Utatungata. He's also sitting here in front. I also want to acknowledge the CEO of ECRDA, Mr. Tozi Kwanya. My boss is also sitting in front of me. He's our general manager for the Eastern Cape, for Times Media, basically responsible for this business in East London, and our sister publications in PE, the Herald and the Weekend Post. His name is Yastil Kushil. Welcome. I call him Chief. I have to sing for my paycheck. I'm told we have 3 DDGs here this morning. There's GMs. We have 2 college principals. If they're not here, they are still on the way. There are representatives of a number of stakeholder associations here. You all welcome. My colleagues from the dispatch are also here. Tiny, she's our sales manager. Tiny Kao, our political editor, is also here. Sports editor Dominic Peel is also here, and I see journalists also in the house, including Sia, who's a business writer. Let me also welcome Athol Trollip. He is the leader of the opposition in the Eastern Cape. I'm sure you'll be giving MEC Qoboshiyane a tough time when you're debating his policy statement. We're supposed to be joined by 2 mayors. I'm told they are on their way. We will acknowledge them as soon as they walk in. You would have been given a copy of the Daily Dispatch. It looks different on your way in here. I think it's cool. You know, we've named the supplement hashtag working the land. I think it is appropriate. You know, we did that because we believe so much in what MEC Qoboshiyane's department is trying to do. And we really want to be part of that revolution as the Daily Dispatch. So please take it home, read some of the articles that are there, give us feedback. And if you like it, maybe there's an opportunity for us to make this thing a regular a supplement or feature or page in the Dispatch. I had the pleasure of being in the gallery yesterday as we were tabling your speech yesterday, MEC. I must say I was impressed. I was impressed. It was packed. And as soon as he said, Madam Speaker, I now table the policy speech of the department, people stood up and they left the gallery. I will just leave it here. I won't tell you. You decide, Mlesi, and I won't tell you who could make sense. They left. There were still other MECs, you know, that were to deliver their statements, but the gallery was empty. I don't know when they have sense. MEC, when you're ready, I would like to call you up front. Make a few words, and then after that we'll have a breakfast, and then we'll engage with the MEC. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Daily Dispatch editor. I think the most senior in the team, and the Times Media chief. By your presence, I think this event is really well endowed. Superintendent General of the Department, CEO of Eastern Cape Rural Development Agency, my colleague at work, the Shadow MEC for Rural Development and Agrarian Reform, Bawa Trolip. Thank you very much for finding time to come and join this massive work that we are bestowed in order for us to drive so that the province of the Eastern Cape is not only catalytically becoming and well positioned as a net exporter rather than net importer of cheap products. The time now has come for the people of the province of the Eastern Cape to converge not only through ideas, but unleashing our own capabilities to ensure that we revive and resuscitate the long-term sustainability of agriculture and rural development as a sector to be respected. Let me admit, in the presence of the farmers here and those that managed to read the advert and decided to come and contribute to this important, quite history-making epoch, that rural development and agrarian transformation indeed demand men and women of solid standing, so that the language, the agenda, and the talk of the day is becoming much more enterprising and fashionable for all Eastern Cape individuals to understand that this is a sector that needs to be respected. I must confess that strategic mistake of our new dispensation was to relegate this sector of primary production and agriculture and rural development to oblivion. And when all other priorities were pronounced, I'm telling you, in the 20th year of our own celebration, we could have been speaking a different language. That is why the disinvestment, the de-skilling, moving away from agricultural productive economies, and also ensuring that the pillars of agriculture were also shaken. Schools were closed, subject design were no more, teachers were disillusioned, colleges also ground to halt, and agriculture infrastructure was no more there to keep and sustain a province that used to produce food. I'm informed that only in the then Transkei, 17,000 of land were under cultivation. But in 20 years, we're still at 17,500. as Eastern Cape with much more better budget. But because there was a time where we thought democracy will deliver everything free of charge. And I think that is a myth that we need to change. Our tactical response, therefore, is to mirror this significant sector, ensuring that agriculture is revived, schools are opened, syllabus is well addressed, and curriculum designers and curriculum specialists in the sector with the Department of Education, Honorable Trollip, we need to have a conversation. I visited a school called a High School for Agriculture in Mount Frere. And when I checked with the principal, what are the streams of this institution? But because the school must be approved based on numbers, all streams were opened by the principal. Learners were invited to partake. Some were doing hospitality. Others were doing very far-fetched subjects that cannot produce a learner of note when it comes to agriculture as a science. And as a consequence of that, those learners cannot manage to receive the high marks as well as weight of subjects that they've been doing, and they cannot be admitted in the agricultural universities and colleges because of our laxity when it comes to the credibility and the quality and the content and the depth of the subject that these learners must attend. Indeed, we have to take this department also to ensure that we create a platform for the emerging farmers and smallholder farmers to receive attention. And this department must position working collaboratively with private sector as we have modeled through Macadamia Nut next door in Necha, where the landowners took a conscious decision, a resolution of community to say, we are going to participate in this industry. And as a consequence of that, Necha Macadamia Nut today is grade 4 in terms of quality, which is one of the best world macadamia nut you can have in the market today. Yenzwa up Emont Fuchane Nut to lend our school. And as a consequence, therefore, certificate of quality has been issued to give support to that industry that is growing bigger and bigger. It therefore means that we need to have a serious conversation as a province of the Eastern Cape. What kind of infrastructure, Superintendent General, we must lay so that farmers as well as private sector that intend to invest in this sector can see that we are indeed ready to ensure that we are moving forward. We've laid down infrastructure in Necha Macadamia. Ownership belongs to the people. Communities can own full value chain today, and 80-year-old rental by the company to that community is guaranteed. A model that we think is one of the best in the province of the Eastern Cape. And as a result, it is now destined to be taken to other areas across the Kai so that we can ensure that we revitalized that kind of economy. We need vitality and agility as people sitting here. We need more land to be under cultivation in the province of the Eastern Cape. Also on urban agriculture. I've tried to check, honorable member that is here, what is happening in other small towns of the world. And I discovered that a small town in a small country called Havana today, 2002 to 2004, 34 million metric tons of food and 90% of cities' produce comes from local farmers. Speaking about Cuba, speaking about Havana, speaking about that particular area, and 200,000 Cuban people currently worked in the expanding of urban agriculture since 2002. It therefore means if we've got a strong town and cities like Buffalo City, which is one of the metros that have land for farming, we need to reposition this institution and this municipality to derive value of the land and asset that they have in this particular space. And how many farmers are producing food for the people of this particular area today? And I think if we cannot achieve to do exactly that, I'm telling you, our poverty will become percolating our pages and speeches every day of our lives. We've got 1.9 billion rand to work on under the current financial year. Our duty now is to go back to the portfolio committee and prove that the program design and structure of our old programs, 8 programs that we have, will be in a position to ensure that our natural resource potential and developmental nexus in the province, we are going to be able to use a portion of amount towards service delivery, which the details are contained in your own speech. And I think on matters of land, it is also true that we need to attend this matter very much seriously, very much sensitive as it is, and we need to be part of that communication, receiving the kind of inputs that we want to get from the province of the Eastern Cape, so that we inform and inspire the national discourse when it comes to this important subject. We cannot let this important issue to be a matter of dividing a nation. For me, standing here, land discussion must be matters that we can derive an opportunity for the convergence, because it used to be a matter that require men and women to understand that land is going to be a topical matter. But because of our raised voices, nobody is able to know exactly what is it that we are talking about. And say which is a best working model so that everybody can benefit from the proceeds of this freedom. Therefore, rural development becomes the center pillar to advance and drive the economy of this particular province. Honorable Premier has given us an opportunity to attend to 300,000 hectares of land that is fertile, currently not under cultivation. Umhlaba okhoyo esingakawuphathi esinokwazi, including state land. And the decision of the province of the Eastern Cape, working with all agencies and entities and people from private sector, what is it that we can do to ensure that we develop our own mechanization model? We know who is producing fertilizers. We know exactly who is going to produce our production inputs. And then what cost of that particular business? Are our roads amenable enough to ensure that from one town to the next, we are upgrading the agricultural routes, as now is a decision, program director, that the amount of money we've been given by Treasury to ensure that rural development and rural roads in particular also benefit agricultural sector. Abantu abenza irask pha enkwankca bakhalazela indlela ezimbi ezophula irask zabo xa siya market. And these are the issues that we believe we need to attend. And by so doing, the rural roads, therefore, are going to be attended and get addressed. And yesterday, in our own cabinet committee meeting, it's a matter of putting up together a solid implementation plan and identifying critical roads of not only metropolitan significance, but also rural roads and municipal roads, so that Department of Agriculture or Rural Development and Agrarian also receive graders from the state to ensure that we maintain farm roads. That's the decision we had to take. And I think the industrialization of rural communities is quite important. That's why we are speaking about rural enterprise hubs, having procured 28 tractors already with implements, working with cooperatives in those various identified areas in order to increase hectarage of land under cultivation, so that those particular communities like Mkanduli, which have now graduated to be the first cooperative that is now having offtake agreements with a number of retail shops in the areas of Umtata and Vichisville, Bakupi 25 kgs of meal, samp, as well as feed. Bakwazi ukuziphilela kunye nabantwana babo. On rural resource and mining, we are saying also, we can't let this to unfold without our own attention. If only those that have money and machinery who can arrive in rural space and exploit the natural resources and riches that these communities are well endowed with, without a proper policy and proper policy response from the province of the Eastern Cape. We are to work with Economic Affairs now and Department of Minerals to ensure that when these permits are issued, the issues of monitoring, the issues of rehabilitation, the empowerment of those communities are also characterize those kinds of decisions, so that people don't go and exploit natural riches of our own rural space without communities getting also empowered in the drive towards the realization of economy in those particular areas. Indeed, going forward, we have received a confirmed budget of 145.3 million in this financial year, as I'm standing here. how then we are going to work together to ensure that 145.3 million, which we intend to increase to 42,000 of land under cultivation with 170,000 tons of maize, we so expect. How can we achieve that with the current norms of funding, current norms of mechanization policy and so forth? And 30.7 million is going to be given only to one district out of that, which is the district of Alfred Nzo, where we are targeting 9,600 hectares of land. In order to realize that, we set aside that 3 million. OR Tambo district, we said at least 35.2 million must be given to them so that they can also ensure that that area is attended. The issue of commodities, we said the time now has come for the province of the Eastern Cape to work with everybody in the sector of agriculture. We have realized in our own visit to citrus areas, both Gat River and Paddy, that the farmers there are saying we are now destined for brighter future. We are now taking our produce to international countries, including European Union. And they gave me what they call is international or export earnings. That is reaching millions of rands. But they said, MEC, we are having a risk here. European Union is very strict on the products they receive. But if we are trading with them without pack sheds of the current standard, our own regulations that are keeping the flow of goods and services between these two countries is going to be affected by that. There is an old pack shed in Ripplemate, which is now condemned by European Union, and they are opting for other countries to supply them with oranges that are coming, which is a space that we're interacting as South Africa, Eastern Cape in particular. That's why we decided as a response when I was there 3 weeks ago, that we must set aside an amount of 9.2 million in order to revive the pack shed, so that those oranges, which are graded one of the best in the world and one of the tasty in the world, coming from the province of the Eastern Cape, we are going to start the work immediately the budget is loaded, so that we can attend and address that situation. Of course, the chicory industry, towards conclusion on my remarks. Chicory grounded to halt, I think, in the area of 2008, because we've allowed the industry to be penetrated by cheap products from Asia. And Chicory SA decided to order the blending of the coffee Ace or Frisco or whatever. That content is quite critical. But today, such decision, working with DTI, is now getting reviewed. And as a consequence of that, more chicory is required locally. And Eastern Cape is the only province in the country that is producing quality under dry land chicory. KZN has tried it under irrigation, it's not working, but we do have a potential and capacity. Hence, we visited that area and met with the farmers and Chicory SA and Nestle, so that we can sign the agreements between us, the National Department of Trade and Industry. And as a result, the farmers that are producing chicory are going to enlarge the space and the land so that we can reactivate that factory that is drying chicory in that particular area. But the matters of transformation also are important. But to us is the capacity to produce and the strength to ensure that we transform the industry, not to kill it. And as a result of that, we are now happy to announce that we are going to reopen the doors of that factory, and the suppliers will also come from the trust as well as from the smallholder farmers that are working the land in that particular area. And we are going to support them. We also visited the pineapple industry in the areas of Paddy. Remember also, because of the fertilizers that were deposited in this country, unregulated, our soils were declared nullity, if I may say. International companies that used to have that kind of produce could not take South Africa Eastern Cape pineapple anymore. And that resulted in our companies closing. And this is what I think it is important for us to reflect on. What kind of things that we receive that can damage the land to the extent that has happened in the areas of Paddy? costing not only factory, but people not to be employed. Families could not take their students to school, and they become dormant and dependent and indigent, as per the declaration of a person whose income is below 3,000 rand. And that is what now we are changing. And I think going back there, we decided also to go back and support them. And I'm happy to announce that the company here in East London that has indicated to be ready to take the pineapples once again for juice making and other 100% great drink is now on board. In the next coming 2 years, we will speak a different story about the area of paddy when it comes to pineapple industry. We are reviving it. Those are the reflections that we think, Chairperson, are important. Agriculture infrastructure. We need to go strong and monitor and support that when we are saying dipping tanks, 112 of them must be revived because we do have budget. We are not saying those that are dipping their own livestock must not take keen interest to ensure that dipping tank is their own asset like those cattle as well. Abantu bavuna idiphu ngoku xa bephelelwe zinkuni baya kwezi zasediphini. It's quite unprecedented. I visited Qoboshiyane where Madiba started, and I was told that iyaphela le dip abantu bathatha inkuni apha kuyo. Urhulumente yenza into. I-dipping tank is there in the real village. Dipping committees are supposed to protect their own assets. Kuba inkomo xa zinamakhalane, they will die eventually. And I think this is what we are trying to say. People must own up. This is the industry of the people. It feeds the stomach that are empty. But if people don't take heed and cognizance of that fact, we are going to see once again this department and this sector coming to naught of the activities that we're supposed to ensure that we go bigger. As a parting shot, the president announced an agri-park agenda. And we are saying we need also to shape for this reality that 5 districts must be well positioned to embrace and receive the kind of support from national government. If that 2.2 billion is earmarked for the establishment of agri-park already in the province of the Eastern Cape, we've got one in Dafu, where people produce, dry their own vegetables and value add and create industries in that particular area, working with the University of Fort Hare. 1 billion has been appropriated to this province to ensure that there is what we call school nutrition program. But who supply that kind of a market? Schools are more than 5,000 plus in the province of the Eastern Cape. Learners are more than 3 million, I believe, that are under this program. 1 billion we've been given by the national government to ensure that we sustain it. Is that food nutritious? If yes, who supply that industry? Are our local farmers part of that space? Our own cooperative part of that space, and that is money that is here currently available to make an addition to the work that we do. We also have a program of farmer support and development, also information technology, which we believe is going to be critical. And I think the aquaculture industry, I received this morning that national government, actually through the MEC for Economic Affairs yesterday, 2.2 billion is going to be made available for those that are interested in the aquaculture development. And hence DTI came to say we're going to take a portion of training also young people identifying Christian and OR Tambo dams, as well as the 800-kilometer coastal area of Eastern Cape when it comes to this. We also need to see who is ready for fish farming, because some of the species are depleting and we need to farm and we need to produce more because people still need some valuable nutrients as well as what is required by their bodies. And we believe that aquaculture is going to be the key theme so that our markets also can flourish once again. We have revived agricultural colleges, as I indicated, and we decided to invest a couple of millions. 13 million only is towards their infrastructure upgrading. We can't have a college of agriculture without a farm. We can't have a college of agriculture, for instance, without a small abattoir, so that they can understand exactly what are they there for. And we can't have an agricultural college without tractors and implements, so that when they're out of that institution, they don't join the queue of those that demand jobs, but they create jobs themselves. And I think that is what I think is a benefit of having theory linked to practice kind of education. And I think by so doing, we need more of artisans and engineers in this field of agriculture and rural development. And each college received 34.2 million and 38 million respectively. Those are the reflections of what you can read in your own speech. And I've already indicated to the members of the provincial legislature that we need to ensure that too, they go back to their constituencies and identify with the commodities or with the cooperatives that are operating in their own space so that we can give support of implements and seedlings. I decided to drive a program of saying, let's go back and regreen our own homes. And young people are positively responding. I've mobilized doctors who are under age 35. And I'm quite amazed about South Africa's story that is latent, that is not talked about. When those young professionals are tuning so well with others via social network, whether it's your Twitter, but it must be of developmental purpose. They give advices to others via the same platform. If you can see, since we launched that page, how many now are investing benefits of showing their own small gardens from their own backyard, just to connect and creating agriculture, not only as an enterprise, but as a fashionable industry that one can associate with. Thank you very much. We'll attend to questions after you've gone through your speeches. Thank you.
We will break and have breakfast now. And after that, I'm sure we've all been taking questions, sort of taking down our questions as the MEC was delivering his speech. I just want to acknowledge also, I'm told that the CFO of the department has just walked in. And I don't know if you are aware that this session is also streamed live, MEC, on our website, dispatchlive.co.za, and on our YouTube channel. And let me also acknowledge those that are watching us from home, from the office, I don't know. And if you are on Twitter, I see a number of young people around there. If you are on Twitter, we are tweeting this session also. There are 3 hashtags I've just checked. The one is hashtag working the land. There's one called DD Rural Strat. There's another one that says be fruitful. So you can use any of those. Let's just get this thing trending on social networks as well. Breakfast is served. Thanks.